Maddie, why are you not more excited about this? You're going to Sony to read a script? Like, what? Honestly, my first initial reaction was resentment. But it was a case of like, what do I have to lose is really what that was.
Oftentimes you hear that story, it sounds like, oh yeah, that was the answer all the way. But the reality of it is at first that fear comes in and that resentment and that imposter syndrome.
It can really drain one when you're not just able to live your creativity.
Warhol, I think, said something about like always be creating. While others are deciding whether it's good or bad, make more art. And so I showed Dead English to a bunch of people. I brought it to a couple theaters and like spent money to show it there. And then while that was happening, I just wrote other movies. You never know if something's going to get made or not. You know, you can't wait. So I want to do those. I want to make those movies now. And I think that's one of the things we forget.
Matthew Munroe. I say Munroe.
Hi.
Is it Munroe? Is it like I'm thinking about? It's so beautiful. Did I mispronounce your beautiful name, or is it
it's Matt Munroe. Matt
Munroe? Matt Munroe.
Yeah.
Matthew is also gorgeous, but it's Matt. Obviously, you use that a lot. And you are an actor. You're a producer. You're a director. I know you write too. I know you do so many other things. You are just a creative bundle. Like, it's amazing.
A bundle of joy.
And a bundle of joy. That's for sure. That is for sure. Thank you so much for being here and taking the time. I know you are very busy. You're directing now a play. So it's exciting to have you, and you've done so much more. So we're going to dive into that now today.
Great.
What I want to start with is, what's interesting is that you spent some years very close to the industry, yet you weren't inside of it. And then you re-entered accidentally.
Yeah, pretty much accidentally.
Yeah. And what I want to ask you is, what part of yourself came back when you returned to acting?
That's a good question. What part of myself came back? It's an interesting way to phrase it. So, we talked about this a little bit before when we met, but I was unhappy in a way that I didn't really know that I was unhappy when I wasn't acting. If that makes sense. There was like this sort of like low grade, I wouldn't call it depression. I'm not like I don't have depressive tendencies. But there was like this low grade sort of dissatisfaction or unhappiness. If you were a psychotherapist, you probably would call it depression. I didn't want to call it that just because I didn't feel like it was depression. It didn't feel like it was something that could be, looked at like that. It just felt like I just needed to make a change. And so I'd say what came back was like just a general sense of happiness, That's what came back when I kind of got back into being creative.
Yeah, it is something that as we've said multiple times here, it's kind of something that chooses us, right? It somehow enters our lives, and it feels like even if we try to let go or have to maybe for a while, it can really drain one when you're not creatively, just able to live your creativity, in a sense.
Yeah. And watching so many others kind of come and go, famous people come and go was from where I was in my life. Watching them kind of come and go was brutal. And I was just like, oh God, what am I doing with my life? So I just was a lot happier when I'm creating, when I'm in the act of creativity as I define it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I'm really curious, the story that you told us, it seemed like straight from the movie, you know, that you were living in LA, you are living in LA. And so you're surrounded by people, parties, actors, you know, producers, but they were kind of like you were looking inside from the outside. Mm-hmm. And the moment probably you least expected it, someone from your close circle, they invited you to a table read. Can you tell us that story? How did that happen exactly?
Yeah, I have to be careful exactly what I say, but yeah, so for years I was working in like what could be called as property or estate management, and kind of just not doing anything else really, just doing that, and watching very well-known people from my upbringing kind of come and go from where I was, having, you know, meetings and it's funny, one of my friends was like, yeah, so you were a personal assistant. And I'm like, no, man, that's not it's so different than what I was doing. But it can often be looked at as like an assistant type of position, but it was really different. It was actually very hands-on, like a lot of manual labor. It was definitely a blue-collar job. It was not like just sitting behind a desk kind of organizing things. And so I would literally throw these big events where people that I knew and grew to admire and love, and some that I didn't, but that I knew, would come to these events, and I would just kind of like, what am I doing, you know? You might hear my cat from time to time crying from the other room. Just ignore her. And then, yeah, so one day, I don't want to mischaracterize it and kind of make it more fantastical than it really was. It was pretty just run-of-the-mill, you know, at the time. But I was on location working at the site that I managed, and it wasn't someone from my personal circle, just to be clear. It wasn't like a friend of mine. This was someone who worked on the side of things that I worked for, right? So they were kind of, I don't want to separate it into like hierarchy, but there was a hierarchy, and I was not a part of that circle. Except to say that they, you know, everyone was super friendly. You know, there's a lot of, I don't want to insinuate at all that there was any kind of malevolence or malintent. They were all lovely. Just hardworking, and I think like anybody in that business, distracted by their own need to keep creating, you know, so they can support their lifestyle.
And however, I know that you are, I mean, I'm just going to say it, not name any names, but we're talking here about A-listers in Hollywood.
Yeah,
we're talking about
like
big names.
Yeah, we're talking about money and prestige that is, you know. Yeah. Still so far out of reach for any of me in my circle, but yeah, very, very high level A-listers. And I was on location one day after an event, and one of them happened to be there and said, "Hey, what are you doing this weekend or next weekend or whenever it was?" I said, "You're looking at it, man. Like, I'm cleaning up. This is what I'm doing." And he said, "Well, do you want to come to a table read? You kind of fit the role of this character." And I was like, yeah, I do. So that was kind of by accident. I mean, it really was by accident, because it wasn't like I wasn't seeking it out, and I don't think, quite frankly, I don't think he was either. I think it just kind of dawned on him that this might be someone to fill the blank that they needed, you know, at the time. So,
what did it feel like? That moment, like I mean, it's a kind of surprise. Like, it's something you do not expect. You've not been looking for it. It was not strategical, you know, in any way. And then after you, as you said, you were in this phase of just not feeling good. Let's name it that, because you don't name anything else. And then this question is popped. Like, what did that feel like? And
well,
then
that's a good question. Yeah, so what did it feel like? I want to answer that first, because while it's still fresh. What it felt like when he asked if I wanted to go to a table read at this studio, this very well-known studio. I don't want to mischaracterize it. I don't want to be like, oh, it was like the silver bullet that like fixed my sadness and my feeling of feeling like a stray, because I felt like a stray in my own life. It wasn't. I honestly, my first initial reaction was resentment. I'll just be honest. Like, I resented him for asking me.
Interesting.
Yeah. It's like a complicated sabotage dynamic where I resented him to be in a position to ask me while I'm busy doing manual labor, getting paid a fraction of what these people would get paid if their rates were broken down into an hourly wage. I'm getting paid, like $14 an hour at the time, which at the time for my job was good, but it was not good. It was like, so I had like, my initial thing was like, go fly a kite, dude. I don't want to help you. Why would I want to help you?
Go fly a kite.
Yeah, well, I don't want to swear. Can I? I don't know if I can swear. I don't want to. I don't want to cuss.
You can swear. You can do whatever you want. Me too.
Yeah, I was like, fuck you, dude. I don't want to help you.
Fuck off.
Yeah. But then I think in the moment, like, it happened so quickly. It was like, dude, fuck off. Like, I'm busy working. Like, yeah. And then I think out of just like knee-jerk like reaction, my reaction often with people asking me if I want to help them is yes, I'll help you in some way. So what I heard was, hey, we need help. You fit the role. What are you doing next weekend? Do you want to help? And I was like, it's kind of like, fuck you, man. I'm busy. Like, I want to get this job done so I can go home and like probably smoke a bowl or something, like, and just be miserable. and instead, I just said, I was like, yeah. I was like, I'll help. Yeah, whatever you need, man. I'm here to serve. Like, this is my job, right? Is to serve you guys, like, in any capacity that I can. So yeah, I'll help you out. It wasn't, I think, until later when I told somebody, they were like, Maddie, what the fuck? Why are you not more excited about this? You're going to fucking Sony to read a script? Like, what?
That's like huge. I mean, that's huge.
Yeah, I was like, I get. I mean, it's huge in the sense that it happens all the time. It happens all the time. People do these table reads, or just do any kind of reading of a script, in a non-official capacity. But the fact that it had been the amount of time that I had been at that job and kind of unhappy. Not because of the job. The job let's be real, the job gave me a lifestyle in a city where people are just struggling. Yeah. Okay, so I have nothing but gratitude for them and for the job. Looking back, I wish I'd handled my exit a little differently. Just because I those kind of relationships I don't think they're ever really meant to sustain after they're like, you fulfill your position and then you leave. That's kind of the end of it. We were friendly and we were kind, but I don't think those are meant to continue on in any real capacity, except maybe the once in a while, like, how are you? Like, just saying hi, and I think so many people can try to maintain those relationships to get something, but that was it. That the relationship was, you work for me and I pay you. There's no like secret agreement where like, oh, you're a talented actor, someday I'll help you make your career because it's like there's that, and that was one of my dangerous kind of experiences. Was I had made this sort of secret contract that like, someday this person is going to realize that I'm like a talented actor and they're going to want to help me.
Okay, so what we're talking about, just to clarify, is that I'm not going to name any names, but you are working for someone that has a higher position in Hollywood.
Yeah.
And could really make or break a career. like, or careers like really elevate people.
100%.
Yeah.
150%.
Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
That part that you shared with us, thank you so much for being so real, because oftentimes you hear that stories and it sounds like, oh yeah, that was the answer all the way, and I was, prepping all the time for this, and I was ready, and they asked me, and I brought the A game. But the reality of it is, at first, that fear comes in, and that resentment, and that imposter syndrome, and you feel like shit, and you're like, no, I don't want to go, like, come on, like, that's not.
I don't want to help you. I don't want to help myself.
Exactly.
I don't really want to go.
Exactly.
Yeah. and it persisted through the read too. I mean, even in the read, when I was there, I showed up to the read. I was walking through the lot, going to the room to read this thing with them, with a bunch of other people that were already there, and I was late a little bit, and I just was like, what am I doing? Like, what am I doing? Who am I fooling?
And how did that, do you remember the moment when that shifted, or was it like gradually as you got the role? Never shifted?
Never shifted.
Never shifted. No, honestly, I didn't even get the role right away. So we did the read, and people were responding well to my acting in the read. People were enjoying what everyone was doing, but particularly what I was doing. And in the script, my character and his brother are really this sort of the comedy relief. They're like, it's a horror movie, but these two brothers are they're really relatable and funny. And sadly, it could have been because of my performance, because it was my first time on a big budget and on camera with like a big budget. It could have been that they cut that stuff because I was just terrible. I could have just been, I could have been just horrendous. And I wouldn't know because I haven't seen any of the footage, right? But a lot of that stuff got cut out. And the rumor mill has it that it got cut out because the producers realized they were trying to make a film that was sort of a grounded sci-fi horror film. And my relationship with this other actor, this brother on screen, kind of took away from that. It made it too funny, and they didn't want it funny. Okay. So anyway, so that's jumping ahead, but to answer your question, I think was that I never really settled into it, even through the casting process where they were looking at another actor. I forget his name, but he's great. Like an actor who I look at and I go, oh, that guy's good, man. Like, I know that guy. I wish I could remember his name. And I mean, I got called into this casting office, Automatic Sweat, which is John Papsadera's casting office. And if you know John Papsadera, I mean, again, he's like the biggest casting director next to like. Yeah, I mean, he's like, he just does everything you've ever seen. It's crazy. I mean, every Christopher Nolan movie. I mean, just countless huge, and independent stuff too. And the friendliest guy. I mean, he would come to parties at this house, and I would just be like, oh, what's up, dude? He'd just be joking with me, and that's one of the things I think people liked about me was that I never treated them like they were a different hierarchy. I would like call my boss, like I'd say dude to him. Like I would like it, just very colloquial relationship with them. And I think they enjoyed that.
I appreciated that. From
me anyway, not from everybody, but from me just because I was on the home front. And so I went into their office, John Papsadera's office, and I read, and I had there was this like device that the character is supposed to have, this device that he's reading, like, I don't know, like ectoplasm from ghosts or whatever. He's like taking readings of stuff, and I had this. I was like, what am I? I'm in my truck, like parked outside the office. I'm like, what am I gonna use? Like, I can't just mime it. Like, I have to have something in my hand to just make it feel for me like it's real. So I took like the gate opener, like the thing that opens the gate to the place where I worked. Like, I took that off the visor and I brought that in with me. And as I'm like doing this with it, like John's like, he's like, all right, cool, Maddie. He's like, so is the gate to the property like opening and closing every time you click that thing? And that was funny because that helped. Like that helped kind of like, oh, this is fun. Like I'm having fun with this guy that I don't know. There's no pressure. It's like whatever. And then they sent my tape to the director, and I didn't hear anything for weeks, and I kept hounding John. I got John Papsadera's email just through back channels. Guy, like not his assistant, like his email. So I kept like emailing him every other day, just like joking and like checking in with him. And he would respond. It was funny. He would respond every time. And so I kind of felt, I think a little bit wrongly, I felt like I had this sort of like in with him, you know, like I felt like I had this like, oh, he likes me, he'll cast me in something, which is what we always do as actors. We always think like, oh, because somebody likes me or knows me, they're going to cast me. And so time went by, I didn't get the role. I haven't heard it was what's going on. And then finally, I get an email from somebody on production, and they're like, we'd like to offer you the role of, at this point, I don't even remember, is it Sean? Yeah, I think Sean, in Discarnate. And I was like, oh, sweet. And then I was just kind of like blown away, and I go to casting to costuming like a couple days later to meet with the director and kind of go through costuming, and they're like trying stuff on. I'm trying stuff on, and the director's like, nah, I don't like any of this stuff. He's like, Matt, can you lose a little weight? You were thinner back when we had the oh no bullshit. He's like, you were thinner when you were on the audition tape. And I was like, yeah, that was 2 months ago, man. I've been like eating and drinking myself into oblivion because I haven't heard from you. Okay, I've been so depressed.
It's your fault.
Like I've been eating.
Your fucking fault.
Yeah. You want me to just magically lose weight right now? Like, yeah, I could, you know. And
okay, so that just does not just happen to women.
Oh no! It happens. Oh no! Mm-hmm. That's yeah.
Let's just point that out. That is.
Yeah. So he was like, "Could you?" And it was fine. Like I mean, whatever. I didn't take that personally, and I was like, yeah. I mean, obviously, I knew I needed to for what I had, because I had represented the role in a way where I was thinner, right? And that's what they wanted, and so it's fine. It's what it is. I don't want to get stuck on that, but but at the same time, he was like, and I don't like any of the wardrobe that Costumes has provided for you. Matt, can you just wear what you wore in the audition?
Right.
So what that told me going forward is that a lot of the time, unless like I'm the writer and I'm the director and I'm the producer, and I don't mean just me, but anybody, right? Unless you're writing, producing, directing, and you know what they are supposed to look like, sound like, and who they are. A lot of the times people that are like collaborating, like a big production, don't know what the person's supposed to look like or sound like or who they are. They have like an idea. Like, oh, I want it to be like a Chris Pratt type, or I want this woman to be like a Tandy Newton type or whatever. But they don't really know until they see it. And if I go in wearing what this person's going to wear, sounding like how they're going to sound and behaving how they're going to behave, I can sell you on an idea that this is how that character is, you know? And you might not know that. That's why the director was like, I want him to wear, and all the clothing that I'm wearing in that movie is mine.
That, you know, wardrobe. What you're saying is so true, because that's how I booked the job that I did the other day on this big movie, is that it was the same. I did something in the audition. And then when I was on set, he was like, can you do exactly the same thing? Yeah. Please, exactly that.
Yep.
And it was the hand movement, how I was coming to the door, and like that was just in the one scene. I mean, we had other scenes, but for that one scene, that got me in, because I only had that one scene to tape. That was exactly the same thing. Yeah. I had felt her. I knew who she was for me. And that's what God, So that is, and I want to continue on your journey as an actor, because obviously we'll go into the other, sections too.
Sure, yeah.
When we meet, that is on Angels Never Cry.
Yeah.
And I mean, you're a fantastic actor, I have to say.
Oh, thank you.
You give so much. It was just working off you is magical.
I appreciate that.
And it was really, for me, you did push me in one scene. We've talked about that. And then you, which I think, I want to talk about that. You pushed me in a scene, and then you reached out now, not long ago, and apologized. And I never felt it like that. Just that you know.
Well, you might have a different memory of how that happened.
Yeah, because for me, it felt like, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Because it pushed me to a level that I wanted to be on. Do you know what I mean? And that's the interesting thing. But I really thought it was beautiful that you still, on your end, because you felt that you apologized, which I was like, what? Why is he? I was like, it just helped me. It just made it
well,
better.
I mean, I think what I'm remembering, and we can spend however much time you want on this as you like, and I'm glad you brought it up. But what I'm remembering is that I was, as particularly when we were on location at that sort of abandoned house along the coast there.
In Iceland. We're talking about Iceland. We shot
Iceland.
Angels Never Cry in Iceland, which was my home country, was just beautiful for me, obviously. And for you guys,
I mean,
think
look,
it was special.
For whatever that film ended up being, that experience was a phenomenal experience.
Yeah.
So I have for production and to Janice and just everybody, you and everybody involved, that experience was fantastic. But yeah, I'm remembering that we were on location at this abandoned house, and there was something happening where I just thought, I mean, I'll just be straight up. There was like an emotionality, which is not a word. There was like an emotional level that needed to be reached that I personally, and again, I was at fault, but it's because it's none of my business. But there was an emotional level at which I thought your character was supposed to be at. And I was talking about that with my co-star, John, our co-star, John, and I was not talking in kind terms. I was kind of being a real dick about it. I was kind of like, she's just not fucking bringing it, blah, 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 kind of nonsense. And he was kind of like, ugh, like, you could see on his face his discomfort with me being the loudmouth that I can be, or could be at the time. Oh God, I hope I'm not that bad nowadays. But and then you kind of walked around the corner not knowing, and you kind of walked in on the conversation, and I stopped. I was like, ah, and she's like, you could see the disappointment in Eva's eyes, and I was like, and she kind of left, and then I was like, fuck, like, oh man. And I think what I remember is I attempted to come out and kind of right the ship with you a little bit, but I think you were trying to stay focused on what you were doing and try not to let this idiot get into wherever you were at and affect you too much. And so I think you were either able to, I don't know how it went down, but you were either able to let it go, or you kind of like, for purposes of working together, you like looked past it, or you just kind of like, whatever, this guy's a dumbass, just like we'll just work together till we're done. And we seemed to be friendly for the rest of the shoot, but I hung on to that, you know, and years later, you would come to mind because somebody like commented on the film or reached out, or like Janice sent me a review that she read or something recently, or someone emailed Janice, I think it was, and said,
who is our director? You're talking about
Janice,
our director.
Said like, what's the song at the end of the movie? It's not on the soundtrack. I'd like to know what it is. Where can I find more of the artist's music? Also, thank you for this movie. The performances were amazing, and Eva and this and that and something else. And that made me think of you. And then I just thought, man, I need to make that right, because that was not right. So that's kind of how I remember it.
Yeah, for everyone out there, that was not right. And if you're working with your colleagues, don't fucking do that. But in that case, for me, I used it. And this is something that I then do. If I'm on set and this happens, I will use it. I will use it for the character.
Yeah.
That's what I did in the end. And
yeah.
Because I want to.
Yeah, for all the listeners out there, don't be like me. Don't be an asshole to your co-stars. Like, and furthermore, just keep your mouth shut about their performances unless they ask you. Like, unless they ask you, like, hey, how am I doing? I think the best for my if I ask somebody that, I want real honesty. You know, I want them to tell me.
Me too.
And if I'm not doing well, I want to know. But that kind of behavior, you know, and I was so naive and kind of like, just like, you know, out of place, but trying to figure out what I was doing, you know, at the expense of other people. So, and that's not the way to be.
Well, it's beautiful. You're accountable for it. And thank you so much for that. And again, as I said, for me, I could use it. That's a good thing. So for everyone out there, this can happen on set. It can happen. That just
happens all the time.
Yeah. That people are in a funky state, or they're just feeling shit themselves, and they will let it out on you. And it is not a personal thing. Maybe it is. I don't care. Use it.
No, it's usually insecurity.
It's usually insecurity.
It's usually insecurity.
And use it for your craft. I tell that everyone the actors that I coach, use it. Because, you know, do your best to not allow it to drag you down. Use that energy and put it in that character.
Yeah.
I think that's but what I also want to talk, thank you for being so honest and that we can talk about it here. I think it's beautiful. And I think this is also something that is important, that we can say, I'm sorry. And, you know, and just say, yeah, I forgive you. And this is cool. And Matt, I love you. So it's all good because you are an amazing human being. And I know that. And I want to ask you the way you got the role, because I think that is also something where we can learn from you. When you
Eric in Angels. Yeah, so that was I don't remember the platform that I found the audition on. I think it was Hollywood Casting and Film, which has its own sort of Actors Access type database. But you have to pay, obviously, just like with Actors Access, to have a membership. And I could afford it, so I was paying for all of them. And there was I had been going back through the castings to see what was available, and I think that the production had reposted like something for a role. I'm not really sure. I think it was actually that I was looking back at things that had been posted, and it was expired. Like the audition, the role had already been, like, they closed submissions basically. But I kind of liked the idea of the role, and the film sounded cool, so I was like, I'm just gonna put this on tape. Why not? Like, what do I have to lose? So the email was, and that's the thing I think that a lot of these databases don't have, is that the email address to send your tape to casting for that film was on the breakdown itself. Oh. Right, so like in the breakdown was the email to send it, I think, or whatever. I don't remember exactly. Maybe the database upload was still open, and so whatever. I don't remember how it happened, but I put myself on tape. I either uploaded it to Hollywood Casting and Film's database for that casting, or I sent it to the email. I don't remember which one it was. I think it was the former. Even though it had already expired. And what I learned later was that the person who was supposed to play Eric either backed out for whatever creative differences, reason for creative differences, or if it was like couldn't pay him enough, or it was a SAG film. I don't remember exactly. It was union, non-union. I don't remember.
I remember that.
Okay. Yeah.
I know why. It was meant to be that. Yeah, it was. The director didn't want him because of certain behavior.
Okay. Yeah, and so the director, she went back to look who was still there, and I think what I think happened was that my tape was my submission was the top of the pile because it got sent in last, and she saw mine, and she sent it to you and John, and she was like, "What about this guy?" And I think John, I don't know about you, but I know John confessed, like he was like, "Yeah, I thought you were great." So I just said, "Yeah, you should use Matt. He's great."
Yeah, me too. Because she sent
too.
me John too at that point. So.
Okay, yeah. And so so that's but it was like one of these, it was a case of like, what do I have to lose is really what that was. It was like, the submissions are over, but why not send it in anyway just to see what happens,
I love that.
Yeah. It ain't over till it's over. I mean, I've heard stories of like, people being on a Clint Eastwood film and they're going there for they have a 1 day of filming and they've got a contract and everything, and they show up to set and suddenly Clint's just like, "No, I gave your lines to someone else. Let's get him out of here." And there's no role. So it's like, it ain't over
doesn't
yet.
Feel that good.
Oh, it happens. So I mean, I was on Independence Day, Resurgence, and we're on set. We're literally rolling, like cameras rolling, and in between takes, the director's just like, "Hey, soldier number 2, we're gonna give your lines to Matt. So just let," and then soldier number 2 standing like, "Well, yep, there goes that."
Oh.
It's just, and so it happens. It happens a lot. It happens. People, even on the day, Yeah, it's sad. It sucks.
That doesn't feel awesome.
No, that's why I just make my own shit, because I don't want to deal with other people.
Yes, and now we wanna jump right in. Not only that you do your own shit, you write, you direct, you produce, I assume, but you also do it the way where you started with feature.
Yeah.
Which it's pretty cool, let's admit it, but at the same time it's risky and it's obviously more financially, difficult to pull out. Why feature? Why didn't you start like the obvious way with the short? And we asked you that question before, and you had a great answer. And
did I? I don't remember what the answer was. I think the answer was like, everyone kind of starts with shorts, And I grew up watching films, and I'm like, well, if I'm gonna write a script that's 30 pages or 40 pages, and then edit it down to 15, to then maybe get a 5 to 10 minute short, which, let's be honest, there are, like we talked about this, there are thousands of short film festivals, right? And what I notice with short films is that people will put all the laurels that their short film has been accepted to on the trailer or at the beginning of the short film, but no one has time enough to pause it and like read, all those different laurels, all those different it's a way of like saying, hey, my short is really good. Please make sure you sit through all of it. Right?
Yeah.
Just to be fully honest, and again, it's not about like, hey, that hurts, or that I take that personally. That's just kind of how it is. It's how it looks, and it's kind of how it is. And it doesn't mean the short isn't good or it doesn't have merit. It just means that there are so many short film festivals, and the criteria for getting a film into it, I don't know it. You know what I mean? And so when I'm watching a movie and there's all these laurels to tell me that it's good, well, I don't know the criteria that make it, quote, good. All I know is that I'm the target demographic for a certain type of movie. Okay? I like violence. I like romance. I like road films. I like Quentin Tarantino films. I like crime dramas, and I like dark comedies.
You don't like
That's
horror?
what I love. I like horror as well, but I won't go. I do. I like it, but I won't go to it to watch. I mean, I'll go and watch it, but it's got to be really good. But there's just like a certain genre that I like, right? So I'm gonna seek out that type of film, and lots of people are like that. They'll try to see a certain. They lean toward a certain type of film. So it doesn't matter how many things tell you it's good. If it isn't your vibe, you're probably not gonna seek it out. And so I decided, you know what? I'm just gonna I want to like I was like, it was during the pandemic, and I was like, I'm just gonna if I'm gonna write a script, I'm gonna write like a 70 to 80 page script. It's like, it takes almost the same amount of time to write, for me, that with dialogue as it does to write a 30 or 40 page script. I might as well just write a bunch of dialogue, because dialogue's easy and it takes up lots of pages. You know, you write the dialogue, and it's just like, it just fills pages. Suddenly you write, 10 pages of dialogue, you've got a 10-minute scene, and then actors have a bunch to do, and you don't have to write a bunch of description. It's just all dialogue.
Oh my God, I love how you're simplifying this.
Yeah. Well, that's what I loved watching was people talking.
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing here? We're literally talking on camera, and we hope that someone's going to find it interesting and want to watch it, right?
Yeah.
Or listen.
Yeah, and please, if you do subscribe.
Oh, that'd be great.
Please hit that button.
Yeah.
Because we want to have more people like Matt on here, okay?
Oh,
These honest, bold, creative guys and girls and all of you out there. So please do. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I subscribed, by the way.
I hope you did.
Yeah, I did. So I was just like, you know what? I'm just gonna we'll just write a feature. It'll be mostly dialogue driven. So the it'll be like a 2-actor feature, just to spend no money on it. Just kind of, it was during the pandemic and we had nothing to do. Me and this friend of mine, and I had nothing to do, and so I wrote this script, and it took few weeks of just kind of had nothing else to do, so I just wrote constantly, and we would meet late at night and we'd read it, and we would read it in a way of like we were acting out the scenes, and if it was funny enough to stop us and we just started laughing, we were like, oh, that's good. We would think that's somebody else is gonna find that funny. Yeah, and so that was the benchmark. If we couldn't stop from laughing during our read, then we were like, we got to keep that. And if it didn't make us laugh, we'd probably cut it out. And we ended up with like a 75 to 80 page script. This guy Dick DeCoit, he was a writer, like an associate writer on I think shows like Sybil and like back in the late 80s, early 90s, like Murphy Brown, stuff like that. with people like Chuck Lorre and Lee Aronson and those guys who wrote all those sitcoms and stuff. He was a writer on that, and my friend who was in the movie with me, who made it with me, we're still working on it. We just got a sales deal for it, but
congratulations.
For years later, 6 years later.
Important to say
6
that,
years.
guys. Yeah, it's important. It takes time.
6 years, like it's he read it, and he was like, this guy Dick DeCoit read it. He was like, hey, I have some, because he was a friend of my friend Paul, who's Paul's friend, and he read it, and he was like, I have some thoughts about this script, like, why don't you try having, like, the girlfriend is more of a character who learns about what you guys are doing and kind of like decides she's gonna take the money that you guys steal and all the blah 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 blah, all this stuff. And I was like, nah, I'm not gonna do any of that. I don't like that. It took it from what I wanted to do and turned it into more of a complicated story, because I had to involve a third actor. I had to write way more dialogue. It was just like, I'm just gonna stick to what we're doing.
I think that's pretty cool, having a big fish like that coming and telling you how you can make it better, and you're like, no.
Yeah, which by the way,
talk to the hand. No.
But I didn't see him. It wasn't like we talked.
Okay.
Yeah, so just to be clear, he emailed Paul, my friend Paul, and he was like, okay. Hey, I read the script. This is what I would say if you were to make this. I would say, do these things. Take it or leave it. And I was just like, I'm gonna leave it. I don't want.
And Matt sent an email back with the hand motion. No, I'm joking.
Yeah. I was like, no.
No, obviously not.
And then we shot it, and it was a disaster. I mean, it was terrible. Oh God. Okay. I mean, we got footage, but then we realized how bad it was, and so we had to reshoot the whole first day. So we shot 80 pages of dialogue, pretty much the entire thing, and a huge one-take fight scene in my house.
Wow.
In 4 days.
Well, Matt is good at fight scenes. I can tell you that. The
4
angels
days.
never cry. Jesus, that's crazy.
It was crazy, and so now and I've been editing it now for 6 years because we didn't shoot enough. We didn't have any money. We had no money. I had $250 to pay everybody to eat, and that was it. And we didn't shoot. We shot it all. Either it was one shot in 4K that maybe you could get a small push out of, a post-production push, but we got no coverage for a lot of the stuff. And then the scenes in the vehicle was all whip pans, right? So we'd be on this person and we would practice it with the camera, like this is going to go from person to person. But what that did was like we didn't get coverage. It was all just like, so where the whip is, there's no choice. You have to have the whip, or you just cut into that shot. So it forced our hand in the edit. Like I don't have so much footage to use. But what that did was it provided, and this is what I love about it. It provided an irreversible context for within which to make the movie. Like you don't get to go to that shot or this take or that sound thing or this. This is all you have. Mm-hmm. So how can you make something enjoyable and rewatchable, like that people want to watch again? Because that's what I loved about movies, was that I would watch a movie and then I would want to watch it again.
Yeah, me too.
And that doesn't happen nowadays.
No, not really.
Right? How many times do you want to go, I want to watch that movie again?
I go back to the old ones.
Not a lot. Exactly.
I go back to the old, and I will watch them
Right.
again.
I can watch,
again.
dude, yes. I can watch like any like Wild at Heart or like True Romance, or like I can watch these movies over and over and over and over again because there's rewatch value because of the dialogue and the acting. And there's so little of that. There is good stuff out there, but for me, there's so little of that. So what we wanted to create that, and so what I've tried to do in the edit is create that dynamic where there's rewatch value, right? Which is why it has taken so long, and because the sound was terrible, we used the boom mic that the mic would literally fall off in the middle of a take. Well. Oh yeah, it would just fall off. It's like, oh shit. Reset. We gotta go, like, oh god, we had to like.
We used like a broken one. The film that it was like it wasn't even working. It was like
on ours, yes, and then we were shooting another one, and there was literally like, as you said, like the mic was taped with the gaffer tape around like the boom, and it was like keep on falling, and it's like clearly that the sound won't be great. But for some reason, that wasn't clear enough, and we waited till the edit to, yes, it didn't work.
Yeah, but somehow that means you have to find a way to work around that.
Yeah.
And that's why for me it's taken so long, and because I've been teaching myself how to color footage with DaVinci Resolve. I've been teaching myself how to edit. What's the best edit? Teaching myself sound, like learning by like just kind of editing sound until it sounds good in both my speakers and my headphones and my speakers, because it's very different in the headphones than it is on speakers. So it's taken forever. But then in the meantime, what I love, I don't know who said, Andy Warhol, I think said, he said something about like always be creating while others are deciding whether it's good or bad. Make more art. And so I showed Dead English to a bunch of people. I tried to get it out there. I brought it to a couple theaters and like spent money to show it there. And then while that was happening, I just wrote other movies and produced other movies, because I was like, I just want to keep making, this is fun. Like making movies with friends and people you love, and maybe some that you don't, and people that are difficult. And I can be very difficult, especially when, the budgets were increasing. Dead English was like very low. Foul Mouth was a little higher. And my most recent one here in New England called Mug was a lot higher for me. And it was all my personal money. So I had a lot of skin in the game, and I was very, very precious about getting everything I wanted, and I was a little heavy-handed with certain performers and certain creatives on the project that I now regret and have had to go back and make numerous amends to people for that. But I think along that line of making features, it just was a more enjoyable process. I think it for me, it gave everyone more to do and could be kind of done if it's dialogue driven and there's enough rehearsal. In my experience, if there's enough rehearsal, you treat it like theater where you rehearse every other day.
That's
and
beautiful.
You right, get it down to where you know the lines, you know the scene, you know, it's not like you're looking at a script on set. There's none of that. And sometimes a little bit of that if you forget a line here and there, whatever. But you rehearse enough, you can kind of do it for a budget as quickly as you could do a short. I mean, we've done now 4 features with my teams, and they've never taken more than a collective of 2 weeks. If you take the days and put them all together, it would be like 17 days, I think, was the longest shoot.
So you're really well prepared.
So,
That's
we
being
try to be.
really
I mean, we try to
well
be.
prepared
Yeah.
because
Yeah,
a lot of stuff can happen while filming, as we know. It just happens.
It's mainly rehearsal. It was like what we found was that the big thing is the changes between setups. So like when you're lighting for a shot and then you switch around and you got to move everything. So what's the best way for a budget to make that process seamless, where you're just switching and you're not? So a lot of it's natural light. You know, using a lot of natural light, unlike I have here. You know, instead of using a lot of lights and gear and stuff like that, it's trying to use natural light, which isn't always the best and isn't always easy. But yeah, stuff like that. So sorry, Valeria, I will go on and
that was amazing.
This was amazing.
Okay.
This
Exactly
is
what
you
we
gave
wanted.
us way much more and exactly
Okay.
you know what we were kind of looking for is like, guys, just don't be afraid of it. Like, do it like Matt.
Yeah, I think. Well, that's one of the things that I've experienced with a fellow coworker on a script. We wrote this. We had this idea back when I was living in Los Angeles to write a movie about firefighters. Back when there was like a lot of fires every season, it was really bad. It was getting worse and worse and worse. And so I really wanted to tell a story about firefighters, like wildland firefighters, from their perspective, like from like what it's like to be them, where it's like you're at war basically. There's long extended periods of time where you're just bored and there's nothing to do. And those long extended periods of time are just punctuated by moments of sheer terror, is what they said. It's just like you'll go weeks with nothing to do and then suddenly your life is on the line. It's like and I was like, that's fascinating to me. And so we wrote the script and it just kept getting more and more complicated. And I was like, dude, it just needs to be that the actors playing these firefighters in a remote location, and there doesn't need to be fire. It just needs to be about them talking about what it's like to have that boredom and what they do, and then have the terror. Like how do we do that without fire, to do it low budget, you know, where it's just great performances? And it just got more and more complicated. And then I just kind of stepped away and I wrote my own version of it. And now we've kind of reconvened, he and I, and we've got this huge budget fire movie that is in script form that I've had people ask me to read. Like people have said, like people who can make movies have said, do you have like a supernatural thriller? And I'm like, in fact, the fire movie is like a supernatural thriller, you know. And I recently reached out to him because I had a friend ask me for it. And I was like, yo, man, where are we at with the script? And he's like, I want to take one more pass and look at these scenes. Give me till the 27th. And I'm like, no. He wants to read it now. Like, what are you going to do? It's been 6-7 years that we've had this script. What are you going to do in 30 days that we haven't done? Like, just let him read it. And if he's like, hey, can you fix these scenes between these two characters? Then go back and do it. Like, what?
Right.
Because that's the thing.
Very
It'll
smart.
never be perfect, right? Like,
It
if
won't.
I had said to Dick DeCoit, like, hey, I'm going to make these changes to my script that you suggested, right? We wouldn't have made the movie. I would have just kept changing. You can always just keep changing. Like, I could like I could edit Dead English for years and never get it out to a distribution company. Right? At some point, you just have to go, it's good enough for now. Let me just share it. And if they, and again, good, in my opinion, good enough is never good enough. There's always like the perfect version of the movie, and that's fair. Yeah. But the script is just a launch pad for what you're actually going to film. And I think if you want to write a novel. No one can touch that. It's a novel. But we're writing scripts, which is dialogue that you put on camera. And then, sure, you get shots of locations and stuff, yes, right? But ultimately, it's about capturing emotions through human interaction, or the lack thereof, on camera in certain locations. And I think that can get really complicated when people want to, like, you know... I mean, everything is just based on that. I mean, every film is based on that. It's like the center of... I mean, even things like Lost in the Wild, where he just goes out into Alaska wilderness and he's out there by himself. Well, it's about the absence of human interaction. So you're just capturing one person in a desolate environment in the absence of human interaction. So I think that it just gets more complicated, and it's like, just get your stuff out there. It's like, while they're deciding, if he was reading the fire script... While he's reading that fire script and he's deciding if it's good or not, we should be writing another script. Just like write another one. Like, just keep creating, because you never know if something's going to get made or not. You know, you can't wait. And if you wait, like, this is the thing that I've discovered. I'm 42 now. I look way older than I feel, and I feel older than I look, and it's just getting worse and worse. And the more time I wait, the less I can do the things I wanted to do when I was 25. Yeah. You know? So I want to do those. I want to make those movies now, and I think that's one of the things we forget. We wait on others because it's not going to be good enough, or if it gets to a festival, people won't like it. Yeah, they won't. In fact, more people aren't ever gonna see it or care about it than will actually see it and care about it. Like, more people in the world don't know me and couldn't give a shit about me than the ones that know me, right? That's not a reason to stop existing. That's not a reason to stop creating, right? Just because more people, right? Just make your shit and just get it out there, and then just do it again. Just keep doing it if that's what gives you joy. I think we wait so long for it to be right before it's done, you know?
The best movie is the one that gets made.
The best movie, right? That is true.
That's great, Valeria. Yeah, that's very true.
That is it, Valeria. That's true. Matt, this has been amazing. Amazing. Thank you so much for your precious time.
Yeah.
And really, for everyone, just what you just said now is create. Don't wait, create. And don't wait until it's perfect enough, because it's never going to be that. There's always something you can improve or change, and that is in our way then. If we are allowing that to be in the way, it's going to be in the way. And simplify. And like Valeria said, the best movie is the one that gets made.
The one that gets made, yeah.
Thank you so much. This was amazing.
Thank you.